In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him nothing was made that was made. John 1:1-3. The Gospel, according to St. John, is a fascinating and compelling account of the birth, life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Called as the Beloved, or the disciple whom Jesus loved, John was the only one of the disciples who got to Jesus Christ the closest. With childlike faith and confiding confidence, John drew nearer and nearer to the Messiah until he could lay his head on Jesus' chest. Throughout history, many godly men and women have gotten close to the divine, but none has had the privilege of laying their head upon the Messiah. Thus is revealed the intimate relation that existed between Jesus Christ and his disciple John. When John begins to set out the events related to his 3.5 years with the Messiah, he begins his story from the beginning. So what beginning was John referring to? Well, there are two possibilities in answering this question, to which many scholars and biblical theologians would agree. The first possibility for the beginning mentioned by John could refer to the beginning of the entire universe, meaning John could have meant that the Word, who is later introduced as Jesus Christ, already existed from the beginning of the creation of the universe. Simply put, the beginning being referred to could refer to the beginning of the creation of angels and the unfallen worlds. Since there is no definite time for the creation of the universe or of angels, this first possibility would be sometime millions or billions of years ago. It would be extremely difficult to conjecture that the beginning mentioned by John in his opening prologue has reference to the beginning of the universe or of angels. There is simply not enough scriptural or biblical evidence to support such assumptions or conjectures. Thus, an attempt at a second possibility. The second possibility of the "in the beginning" statement or claim is that of the beginning of the creation of this world, Earth. The possibility for this assumption is very likely since the context of the opening statements of John is that of creation. Now, assuming the creation is that of the earth, then the beginning would be the beginning of this earth. There are many evidences to support this assumption, especially looking at the first 2 chapters of Genesis. Genesis chapter 1, verses 1-3 speaks of the beginnings of the creation of our world. Thus it is written, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." When Genesis is compared with the Gospel according to John, there are striking similarities and parallelism. Both Genesis and John begins with the statement, "in the beginning." It could have been that John was making a reference to Genesis when he writes his Gospel, almost to reveal that Jesus Christ was there in the beginning of this earth, or simply right from Genesis. This is the more sure way to understand the opening claims of John. There are 3 lessons that I would like you to walk away with from this video. First, the earth has a beginning. The earth didn't always exist, it had a beginning. For more about this, you can refer to mysterious and interesting claims in the Bible video. Second, Jesus Christ, who is referred to as the Word, is God. It didn't say that he was a god, meaning a lesser deity or lesser in divinity. No, it called Jesus Christ as God, much like the Father is God. Is that a difficult claim to believe that Jesus Christ is God? No, it is actually very much believable. How? Well, think about this. If the Father is God, then what would the Son be? If the parents are divine, then what would make the children? The rationale is that since the Father is God, then the Son must also be God. The Son, or Jesus Christ, then must be like his Father and very much divine like his Father, God. Why does it matter if Jesus is God? Because only God can save human beings from their sins. We will explore these concepts in later videos. Third and finally, Jesus Christ created you and I. That's right, you were made by Jesus Christ. But you may say my mother and father met, went on date, got together, and they had me. I don't know where or when this Jesus made me. Think through this. If I asked who gave birth to you, you would probably say your mother, with the help of your father. What about their parents, who gave birth to them? You would probably also say their parents. Now, if we continued that question and answer as far back as you can go, it would probably continue past some great-great-great-grandparents that you probably have never met. But you could believe that your mother and father had mother and father, and their mother and father also had mother and father, and so forth. If you went far back into history in tracing your ancestry or lineage, also known as family tree, you would definitely end up with Adam and Eve. This is because all humanity were in Adam and Eve when they were created. Future videos will explore this concept further. Since God made Adam and Eve, therefore you are or were made by God, who would be Jesus Christ. It is this same Jesus Christ who made Adam and Eve, who also saw you and every other human being in Adam and Eve, that also gave his life upon the cross of Calvary to save you and the rest of humanity from sin and death. Isn't Jesus Christ the most awesome being in the universe? He definitely must be. And you are awesome because you were created by an awesome God.